Hey guys, it's me, Brian, right on red. Just got done with my radio show, The Divide, Mondays at 2:30 p.m. now instead of 3 till 4 p.m. It's a great show today. We talked about a lot of things, but what I didn't get to talk about was wokeism and what being woke does to everyone else and to anything and everything around it except for this very small group. So when you hear all the time, well, this place isn't going to do that because someone was offended, right? Meanwhile, you pissed off now hundreds of people because they weren't offended. So one person or two people are offended. You do not roll with that with taking something away or changing something or removing something for the minority of the group. So if there's 200 people and you guys vote on something and 150 want something and 50 don't, you don't go with the 50, you go with the 150, correct? That's how it's always been. But woke changes things and makes them backwards. Whereas for the Cleveland Indians, their name changed. Now, the majority of the country didn't give a shit, including many Native Americans. They didn't give a shit that called the Indians. And, I mean, I'm talking the vast majority. You're talking probably upwards of 85%. But because a few people made some noise, they changed it. Same thing happened with the Redskins. But why? So why are people caving to this? Because they don't realize that it's the minority because they're so loud. They get social media giants and CNN and MSNBC to buy in on this stuff, and they become a driving force of the issue or of the movement or of the cancellation of what they're trying to do. Because a comedian cracks a joke that apparently everyone in the audience finds funny because they're all laughing, and probably 85% of the country would find funny. They're canceled because 15% didn't like it. See, wokeism means the minority rules, and that is something that can't happen because it ultimately becomes a communist state, because the communist state means the minority rules. A small elite group rules over a much larger subset of the population, actually just there's a bunch of subsets of the population, but not financially. Economically, everyone's going to be in one class, so it's going to be the whole population ruled by the few that are elite, ultimately dividing us into a bunch of different subsets, a bunch of different subgroups by race, which you've already done, race, gender, whatever our sexual orientation, whatever our differences can be, they'll find it, and that's what we're seeing. And that's what wokeism does, ultimately. Oh, well, there's this group, a trans group, and they are super offended by this, so you got to take it down. Well, no, we don't have to take it down. We don't have to take it down. You know what happens? You have to, if you see something that offends you, you know what you do? You just walk away from it, or you don't look at it. You can't just all of a sudden just change the way you feel, change what you think, and change what you do, or portray, or put out, or show, all because a small group of people are telling you that, no, that's not what we get. I'm offended by it. I don't like that. I hate that. I'm offended and I don't want that. So that small group of people should never rule. And if they're offended by, everyone's going to be offended by something. If we took away everything that people are offended by, there'd be nothing left. But here's the deal with the way the left rolls with it. The progressives, as long as it only offends white people, it's okay. And that's the truth. I'm telling you right now. I don't care about someone's color. I don't care about their race. But the left does. They're the most racist group of people, especially the progressives, that you will ever see. That's why they talk so much about race. Race matters 100% to them. It's the only thing that matters. Unless, of course, other like sexual preference and all that stuff matters too to them. But color matters 100%. Color is a qualification, and it's also a disadvantage the way the left looks at it. So as long as it only offends the majority of people, which is white people, or as long as it only pisses off white people, it's okay. It's okay, because that is no big deal. They don't care. But the fact is, you're not going to offend the larger group of society. You're just going to make them mad by canceling stuff and doing stuff because other people are offended. The fact of the matter is, you can't cater to every group. And that's ultimately, this is why Rush Limbaugh stated that the left will eat itself. The left will eat itself. And what he means by that is the left eventually will become so divided internally that they're going to cancel each other. They're going to eat themselves. And the reason being is because you can't sustain this type of movement and this type of ideology at a level that's going to keep everybody happy. You know, one group is going to get offended. It's already happening. You're seeing people getting offended because Asian people are getting this, or because of these people are getting this, but I'm not. So when you write policy or you direct, you know, your overall, just whatever you're doing towards a certain group, say, okay, I'm doing this for, you know, black women. Okay, well, now you just eliminated 94% of the population from that. Of course you're going to get people pissed off. When Biden comes out and says, I'm going to pick a black woman for the Supreme Court, you just eliminated 94% of the qualified people in this country for that job. Well, Trump said he was going to pick a woman. He said he was probably going to pick a woman. He also put a list out with about 35 names on it, including Ted Cruz and Tom Cotton and a lot of people, a lot of men, a lot of black men, a lot of white men, a lot of Latinos, black women, white women, Asian women. It didn't matter. He put a list out of the most qualified people, and these are the people he looked at. He ended up picking a woman, and that's fine. But only... He wanted to pick a woman, and he made sure that woman was the most qualified person in the group. She was. Cool. Great. I tell people this story. I don't know if I've told it on here. I read Trump's book, Art of the Deal, and he said in 1986, this was written in 1986, 1989. 1986, he opened his first hotel in New York City, and he hired a black woman to run the entire hotel. When during the grand opening, when the press asked him, did you hire her because she's a black or a woman? Trump looked at him with the weirdest look, like they had three heads, and said, I hired her because she's the best person for the job. Now, that attitude no longer works in this society because it's woke. Woke means you don't pick the best person for the job. You pick the person that is the most diverse, someone that is oppressed according to them, or disenfranchised. So it means if you have 3 spots, and those 3 spots are all a white person's the most qualified for those 3 spots, and you have a group of, but you like Martin Luther King wanted, you let everybody apply. You let everybody have a chance for that position, but then you take the best. You take the most qualified. That's the bottom line. You just want an opportunity to be a part of it. So if all 3 positions, the white people were the most qualified, that's great. But to the left, no, that can't happen. As a matter of fact, all 3 positions would have to be filled by a trans person, then a gay person, and then a black person. And that would be okay to them because they check the boxes. So we're going to talk more about this soon in another show coming up in a couple days. But wokeism means small groups, and those groups rule over the larger aspect of the population. And it's unsustainable, so don't worry about it, because guess what? They're going to eat themselves. In the meantime, I guess we do kind of got to worry about it, because it's a bunch of bullshit, and you're not going to you don't let them cancel you. If the left comes for you and they try to cancel you, you don't let them. Just like Elon Musk. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care what the left says about him, what they try to do to him. Simply saying, go ahead and try. You're not going to cancel me. I'm not going to fall for your nonsense. Most people, they get so scared, they fall back, they start apologizing. I didn't mean to say that. You don't apologize for something you said if it's a truth or if it's how you feel, as long as it's not a hate. Don't apologize. Roll with it. We're going to talk more about this. But apologies, when you say you apologizing for your real opinions and your real thoughts is bullshit. It shouldn't happen. We'll talk more about this later, guys. Thanks for joining me.